Welcome back, Radio World. We are live. All right, you guys. Sue here with Clarity with Sue. Tapped in, turned on. You guys, top of the hour, we were talking about being aware that we're not aware, and that awareness practice, checking things under the hood and making sure that we are not in denial. We stay in a hyper state of awareness. And then with that and with that evolution and change, we have a process in place. Like, for example, today I was talking about overcoming fears. And when those fears come into our existence and then our body goes into a fight or flight state, we're getting chased by this. I keep wanting to say cyber tooth, but it's saber tooth, but it could go either way in cyber world or saber, saber in-laws and all that. And I was talking about cortisol and that chemical that's released in our body, and our bodies become addicted to that. And, I've talked to many people, many of my clients, they're like, my body, I'm not addicted to anything. I'm like, well, let's separate. It's your body that's addicted to it. And a lot of people don't have that conversation. When you are in that evolution process, you have to still be in a state of awareness, noticing that your body is addicted to that cortisol, that fight or flight, that adrenal juice that you're getting, and really be able to calm yourself down because you're breaking that habituation. You want to calm your body down and get into homeostasis. So with that, I was teasing you guys before we went to commercial break. And I've got to introduce you to a dear person in my life, even though we don't see each other very often in person energetically. He's a soul brother to me, and he's very dear to me. Lee is an inspirational author, creator, speaker, retreat host, breathwork specialist, and leader in global health. Lee has worked with clients one-on-one and with groups all over the world for more than 20 years. He's a co-founder of self-discovery and personal growth. He has spent over 3 decades gathering tools and learning from leaders, shamans, tribes, keepers of the origin, medicines, sciences, the quantum realm, Mother Earth, and masters of meditation, movement, healing, breathwork, energetics, stillness, and other forms of self-mastery. Lee shares his voice, story, journey, passion, and compassion to support others in their journey, should they ask for assistance. That's really important. To fully understand and embrace their highest selves beyond all illusion.
Hi, so good to see you.
Oh, I know. Finally, we get on radio. Okay, so thank you so much for joining us today. You know what? Let's just back up. I mean, I gave the formal bio. Let's briefly talk to you and the audience about your why and where you started with this, because I believe, I think you and I probably talked about this at some point, that you teach most what you need to learn, right? Because I know for myself, there was a lot and overcome. But I also, like you say in the bio, I chose that too.
Yeah.
You can choose to be in denial, or shut down, there's a healthy part of that too. But please, Lee, go ahead. Let's hear your why, love.
Yeah, as you said, my own journey was dealt with severe anxiety, panic attacks, in my earlier life, and was just, I guess, a part of me remembered that there was more, and I'm like, okay, like started asking questions at like 13, 14 years old of, you know, who am I? What is this? Why am I here? Kind of thing. And it started with the physical because, we perceive everything through the senses. So I thought, if I start working out early on and change my nutrition and detoxification and add supplementation to all that sort of thing, that, okay, if I look great, then I'm going to feel great. And it didn't take me long to find out that that was not the case, so my journey basically one step up after the other just led into what I call the pieces of the puzzle. Every piece of the puzzle that I found or tool that I found to support me in my journey and allowed me to feel a little bit better, open my conscious awareness a little bit more, have a little more energy, was just like, oh, okay, wow, like I really can continue to expand and just really align the mind, body, spirit aspects of the self. And it's like every piece I added, the more clearly defined was the picture of who I was and what I was capable of doing. And, as you said, as soon as
There's a
as
lot
soon
of
as I
feedback. We can just stop for a second. There's a lot of talk in the background. I don't know what it is. It
yeah,
could be
there's a microphone guy going by. I'm in Colombia, so they're kind of
Colombia. I love it. I know we got dogs, we got animals. We're all good. Okay, now because I just wanted to be able to hear your conversation. That's all.
yeah. So and as you said, every kind of piece that I found and the better that I felt, I'm like, man, I got to share this. I got to share this with the world, because if people knew that, first of all, it was so, I wouldn't say easy, but that if you committed to a certain regimen and a discipline for yourself in, changing your thoughts and changing your food and, training and really adding these pieces, that if you took these steps each and every day, that you could feel better and better and better and have more energy despite chronologically aging. Wouldn't everybody do it? And, so I just share
But
what's worked for me, and hopefully people find some semblance of use for it, and can use it to put the pieces together of themselves and their own journey.
I love this conversation. And Lee, and yeah, I'm totally going to go into a kind of a stereotype conversation here because I think it's really important. I know it's really important for the masculine, the masculine and feminine. I get all that. But what I'm talking about is the societal man that comes into the world that thinks that they have to personify or be this certain way, right? And I feel and I desire and I intend to create more of that conversation with men to lead and also be the example to other men to show up their best self and give them permission. And then also the other men or women, whatever their partnership looks like. That's not what I'm talking about, but whatever their partnership looks like, to then be able to, put their puzzle pieces together and live more cohesive, if that makes sense, right? I'm trying to be as PC as possible, but there's so many different things that I could be saying, right? But go ahead.
Absolutely, and I love that you brought up the kind of the male female dynamic, because I'm actually doing a lot of men's work right now, and and we're talking about what is a man, because the way I was brought up, and probably many of us that are my age, which is slightly more than 29. um,
Yeah.
it,
I'm 49 again.
I say I'm 29 again. So
I don't want to be 29 again. But go ahead, love.
that man from the old paradigm is strong. They're the protector. They're silent. They don't really know how to connect to or speak about their feelings, and they certainly never show their feelings or talk about them. And we're like some of the groups that I'm in, and what we're talking about is it's actually the opposite. We can be strong as men. We can still be the protector and be vulnerable and be very connected to our feelings and be able to really identify those feelings in any given moment. When we do that and we sit with them, and when we sit with our partner, the connection that we're with a high level of tension and presence, then all of a sudden we can start to feel those feelings within the body, and we can literally begin to retrain our nervous system.
It's new neural pathways. It's new. And people don't get that. And again, going to my conversation at the top of the hour about the cortisol, right? Because our bodies are addicted.
Yeah.
And a lot of the media and the thought leaders of the world, they don't talk about, oh yeah, by the way, there's this cortisol thing that's going to be releasing and your body's addicted to it. So good luck with that one. Right. And I say that with a jokingly love, but it's so true. You don't realize there's a letdown, your body from the chemicals that are being released. So going back to the conversation about the men and the partnerships and being a leader and an example to provide and I feel that the conversation, it's that safe space to provide, right? Men or female. Society's it's in a bit of a turmoil of everything. So what is a man? What is a woman? All of these open-ended conversations. And how about being a beautiful human and choosing to be a beautiful human and providing a safe, loving, compassionate space within yourself, you know, in the hood,
Hmm.
and then also exuding that in your realm of the world, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, and you know, I can only speak to what I'm going into now. And you mentioned some of the thought leaders, and they talk about, you know, think the thought and feel the feeling. Okay,
Mm.
well, what are the feelings? You know, and that's what I'm really discovering and going into now is, you know, we only have, I think there are 11 feelings. You know, there's joy, there's gratitude, there's sadness, there's shy, there's happy, there's fear, and being able to sit with that and identify in a given moment. You know what? I'm actually feeling really shy in this moment and a little excited to, you know, say this to you, right? But name it, right? And as soon as you name it, right, and really feel it and really sit with it, because again, that whatever that external situation is or person is that's causing us to feel shy or fluttered or excited or whatever it is, you know, to be able to identify that all of a sudden allows it to come up to be seen. And if it, let's just say for example, it is with a partner, and you know, you're really angry or you're really sad, right? If you say, you know what, I'm really angry with you right now, and but I really just want to feel that, and your partner's there for it, and they say, wow, like, not try to
And not
fix.
take it personally or fix it, right? Yeah.
Exactly, you know, but to say, you know what, I can feel your, can I feel your anger with you? Is that okay? And then it allows you to kind of go to the next level, and you start to really feel it in the body. And that's the retraining of the nervous system that is so profound that I'm learning. And I have chills right now
I
up and down.
love that.
So powerful to go into the emotion. And you know, even like
Into the
anger.
emotion, but even to have a container, a safe container, that's huge for me, right? I mean, I provide that, but you know, going into a space that you can feel safe and vulnerable. See,
Absolutely.
I'm having even problems talking about vulnerability, right?
Yeah, because we're not taught, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, you're vulnerable, you're weak, especially as men. It's like
Yeah.
it's quite the opposite, you know. And even anger, if we're looking at that, we talk about manifestation. It's like, well, you have to feel good to manifest. Anger is a really powerful emotion. We can harness that for manifestation as well. You know, like our connection with Source or God or whatever you want to call it. Like, hey, God, like Source, I've been calling on you. I've been waiting for you. Like, where are you? Why aren't you showing up? Like, why did you take this person from me? Like, I'm really angry about this right now. You know, and having that communication on all as many different layers and levels and aspects as
Yeah.
you really can.
I miss you, Lee.
I miss you too, Sue. I'm
Oh, babe, this is
in the
such a good
closet.
conversation. I love this. I love this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Um, Talk to me about the breath, how important it is. Because at the top of the hour, I was talking about cortisol and having a process in place. And the audience knows this. I joke. I'm like, brothers and sisters, it's breath. There's no coupon needed, nothing. It's free of charge. You have it right here at your fingertips, at literally.
Mhm.
So, talk to me about the importance of breath. And I know for myself, massive trauma state, all of the stuff, and I forget to breathe. And then I forget to breathe, and then I can't think straight.
Mhm.
Then I can't communicate effectively. Then the cortisol starts releasing because now I'm in panic, right? You know, all it's just the domino effect, right? Now, to
Absolutely.
the audience, you got to choose before even that, figuring out how you want to show up. I don't want to show up that way. I want to show up with my heart wide open in love and calm and to be able to communicate effectively and to hear effectively. That's my intention always, right? So the breath work, Lee, the breath and breathing. Talk to us about that and educate us on how important that is, pretty please.
I mean, it's medicine. It's literally the one thing we can't go without. I mean, we can go without water for a number of days. We can go without food, but we're not going to get very far for very long without the breath.
Yeah.
You know, so just putting that into perspective a little bit. And it's, I mean, to your point about feeling anxiousness and you know these different types of emotions, and even if I were to really start to slow, like breathe like the,
I know, but you're making me want to take a deep breath to come.
it sounds anxious,
Yeah.
right? And that's the way most people breathe. It's short, shallow, it's in the chest. And I mean, even just that quick little example is, oh my God, like, are you okay? Like you sound anxious. I feel anxiousness from you. On the flip side, if we turn it and we do these deep, diaphragmic cyclical breaths, we're filling the diaphragm. We're starting to play with and manipulate the CO2 and oxygen levels. As soon as you take the CO2 levels down, you're immediately reducing inflammation in the body. It doesn't take, maybe 10 breaths. The thinking mind starts to relax a little bit and shut down, so you become more relaxed. And whenever we, so in my 5D breath work, we'll actually practice holds as well. So sometimes you're holding on the exhale, sometimes you're holding on the inhale. When you're holding, the oxygen within the system actually binds to your red blood cells. And so the oxygen within is no longer free floating. And what happens then is the cells will start to recycle, rejuvenate, repair. Same thing happens with the proteins. If you add this on a regular basis, you're going to increase the production of the mitochondria, which is the energy production component of the cells, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's just disease, for one, can't live in an alkaline, oxygen rich environment, which is what you automatically start to produce.
Yeah.
Creating healthier cells, the thinking mind shuts down, you feel better, and there's all kinds of other chemistry that's released from the pineal gland when you start to do that. And I mean, there's just there's no end to the benefits of the breath. And all you have to do is sit. And I mean, you do 10 to 20 minutes every day, it really can change your life.
Well, speaking my language, 100% agree. And then also having the conversation of the letdown. My body is addicted to the cortisol, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I still nervous? Why am I still feeling this way? You've still got to allow the cortisol to leave the body, right? If I'm not using medical terms, I'm using very layman, so it's retainable, because when we're in fight or flight, we can't retain, right? So you have the cortisol release, you've got to be in that awareness. So the best thing that you can do is to sustain the breath, right?
Mm-hmm.
Keep breathing, get yourself in nature, do some if you can. I mean, if you're a CEO and you're working, shut the door, turn off the lights, start breathing. Do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, take 10 minutes. It's worth $1 million contract. I mean, if we're going to go to money, right? And
Absolutely.
it's also worth $1 million relationship or $50 million, whatever that is to you. If it's important to you and how you show up and being the example to other people and how you show up, it's going to be really important that you learn how to self-regulate and to be able to provide that for your body, right? And to, again, be in that awareness. I think that cortisol conversation is so important, because I know for myself, because I was in such a trauma state for so long, and many people, we hear this, that's their norm.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, there's this calm, beautiful, I'm coming home feeling, but then there's this thing knocking on the door going, no, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. That sticky stuff. The audience knows that. So I think having that conversation to remind people to stay with it, to keep in it. And it's baby steps, right, Lee? I mean, right, go ahead.
Yeah. A couple of quotes I'll throw out.
Go ahead, hon. I just started going, so please.
I was kind of mix it up. More isn't better, but better is better, and better leads to more. Yes. So that's, baby steps. And I love this idea of the difference between reaction and response. And it's like, if
audience, did you hear that? Reaction and response. I want to make sure that they heard that. Go ahead, Lee.
Yeah. So reaction is, something happens outside of the self and you react. The hormones flood, the cortisol starts up, and you immediately blow up or, throw a tantrum or whatever it is, right? The response is, okay, wait, this is not necessarily favorable, or it doesn't seem favorable in this moment, but I'm going to take a pause. And that pause, if you can retrain yourself to take that pause, and incorporated in that pause is 10, 20 breaths. And you're just like, and this is another thing about holding tension, right? Because we're so used to, if we're interacting with somebody else, to that immediate reaction, or that immediate, back and forth. And if you say, you know what, just give me 20 seconds here. I just want to take a couple of breaths. First of all, the person on the other side is going to be like, what is going on?
They're going to throw a tantrum and get all.
Yeah. They're like, what? Oh, sorry, just give me 20 seconds. I just want to take 20 breaths. And you just really feel whatever the trigger was, whatever the feelings are, right? And you take that breath, you're going to relax the mind. You're going to start to be able to really feel the emotions in the body. And then you're going to be able to communicate more clearly on the other side. And that's the response. You remain in control versus the external world being the one in control when you're reacting.
Yeah. I keep, it's tapped in and turned on for me. Tapped in and turned on in my intuition, my, just tapped into source, my intuition, the energies that be, and being able to be in a space that I can provide safety and love, right? That container. And that's super important to me. And I know it's really important to you as well. And instead of, and I'm guilty of, or I know I have not been in that state many times, especially raising 3 daughters. Yeah. Yeah. And in fact, that just happened to me. I got a really interesting text, and I had to do exactly what you said. I'm like, that's not personal. That's not personal. That's not personal. That's not personal. That is not personal. And it's a loved one. It's a daughter, right? And you have to be in that state of awareness. Whereas a few years ago, because I was still riddled in the trauma and riddled in all of that, I would be reactionary, right? Because that was my defense. I just was so overwhelmed. And I speak for a lot of people, whether they're a mom, a dad, a professional, that's their norm is reaction, right? Because that's what they've been taught. That's what they know. So, yeah. And us coming to the forefront and having this important conversation about having a process put in place before the shiitake hits the fan, right? Whatever the shiitake is. Suism, because it's radio. But yes, okay, talk to us about, you've got a lot of retreats, a lot of education, author. Talk to us about, well, one, how they can find you, and you host men retreats, but it's also co-ed retreats as well. But let's have that conversation of the types of things. Walk us through a couple of the events, what they'll learn and what they'll come away with.
Mm-hmm. So I just came out of a darkness retreat. So it was 4.5 days of darkness.
Wow.
We were fasting, so we were just juicing as well. We did breath work. We did like chanting, like toning activations, and a little bit of movement. Everything is optional, and then the rest of the time you're left with yourself and to process whatever wants to come up. And it was so profound, Sue. The first 2 days were kind of like the mind was still active, and we have so many ways to co-regulate. Co-regulation is like, okay, things aren't necessarily going the way I want, so I'm going to reach for the chocolate or the sex or the argument or whatever it is. And so you take all of that away, you take all of that stimulus away, and the mind is still like grabbing for stuff. It's like, okay, like what can I do to be busy? So I would have mantras, and I would have like intentions for that silence that I was in. But there was a point on the 3rd and 4th day where everything just ceased.
Oh, I can feel that.
I became the darkness. I don't know how else to say it. I became it. And then from the vastness of the darkness, it's like, for me, this worthiness, it's like it bubbled up from the surface. And it was just like, it was the root of it, like unworthy. And it's like, oh, don't need that anymore. But it wasn't my mind intending to go into it. There was nothing. And then it's like, that's what bubbled up from the nothingness. I don't know how else to say it. But so that's a very,
Congratulations, love. Oh,
thank you.
mm. Go
So
ahead.
that's
Please continue.
a yin retreat where it's like we're literally gonna do what we just said. We're gonna sit with all the emotion. We're gonna sit with everything, without any distractions, without anything else. There's no music. There's nothing, right? And to really go into that, and the amount of restoration and rejuvenation and just stillness, and then on the, like, when you actually come out of it, the gratitude, and that was what really showed up for me was, oh yeah, life is the gift.
Mm.
Where am I not fully living in every moment? So that's the darkness.
Well, and that question right there, where am I not living fully? And I think I know that that can be a very scary and daunting question. No, I don't want to think about that. Mm, mm-mm. Uh, I like this habituation over here. This has kept me safe. This has kept me comfortable,
Yeah.
kind of. My body's fallen apart. My life has fallen apart, but I still think I'm safe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Comfort is, and I think, in part, I think that's why I travel so much. Because when I get too comfortable, I kind of get lazy. I'm like, yeah,
Yes. Is it
habitual
lazy? Well, wait. Is it lazy or complacency?
complacency.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I don't think you are a lazy person. I think maybe, and I use my language specifically, and I also for myself, I'm like, you are not going to get complacent, sister. And I start when I like you, like you're that traveling. I don't know, you and I haven't had talk because I got a Sprinter van and I've been traveling all of Western United States.
Wow.
I know. And I'm getting ready to leave again and start traveling. And guess where I'm headed? I'm going to go to the Oregon coast and up into Canada and around again.
What?
I know we've got to have a conversation. I can't believe this. Yeah. So, and that talk about leap of faith. I've never done any of this in my life. It's me and the dog in a Sprinter van, for God's sakes. I don't know what I'm doing.
That's
Gas, diesel, DEF fluid. What the heck? It scared the heck out of me, but I
wow.
did it anyways. And I'm still doing it. I still don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it anyways. Right. It's that massive leap of faith. But going back, thank you. Going back to that and that traveling and providing, again, it's that awareness that your body awareness, your psyche awareness, your spiritual awareness, the energetic awareness. You're like, I'm getting a little, and I don't know if it's restless. Maybe there is an aspect of that, but my restlessness comes from, are you getting complacent?
Mm-hmm.
Do you need it? Because for me, I want to keep evolving. If I'm in one spot and I'm still evolving, one spot meaning a state or whatever, that's good. But as soon as that not being of service or that kind of thing, I go into kind of a little funk. I'm like, ugh, and I have to get out of it.
Yeah,
You?
that's very resonant. Very
Yeah.
complacent. I
Yeah.
like that word better.
Yeah. Because I don't think you're lazy. I don't think anybody that knows you would say that.
Yeah,
And it
just like
may go ahead.
kind of going, like, just going through the motions, like still doing, still active, and but yeah. So to move around every couple of months, it's like, oh, okay, like fresh, fresh scenery. It's
Oh,
a
it's so
place of the unknown, right? It's
Oh,
like,
it's so good.
yeah,
So good. I know. I woke up this morning and I'm in Bend, Oregon right now, and there's a ton of we had we've had like 80-degree weather, and then we had fresh rain over the early morning. And the juniper trees, I don't know if you smelled juniper. They're kind of a sweet, piney kind of smell. It's kind of, if you have jasmine in the air or tuberose in the air, there's like this little sweet smell, and I have been smelling it all morning and just getting into my body. It's just been amazing. I'm reliving a new experience in my own home that I've been in for a couple months, right? So it's also taking that practice, whether it's a practice on the road, but going to what you were saying in the darkness and coming out and having that rebirth of gratitude, having that rebirth of worth, and that new sense of life, and I've been doing that this morning. So I don't know where I was going with that, but it's the juniper trees.
love that. I love that.
All
What
right,
was your
sweetheart. It's 8:53. We got a couple more minutes. Where would you like to go with this? I want to make sure people know how to get a hold of you if they want to work with you. All that good juicy stuff.
Yeah, I think the breath work. So I've got breath work deep dive slash teacher training. So if again with everything that kind of happened the last couple of years, I'm like, I just want as many people as possible to be able to teach this to their friends and family and their community. So, but you can also just go through it for your own purposes. You don't necessarily have to teach. So that starts again on the 20th. It's a 6 week breathwork teaching program. We go through all the kind of the science and physiology, and it really is a deep dive. We do a multitude of breathing sessions and meditations, and yeah, it's a so that would be one area. If you wanna talk about coaching or any of the other retreats, I also host I call it the hero's journey. So we literally go on the hero's journey, and that's more the yang stuff.
Over and over and over again.
Then does it? It's like
yeah. And what about Tuesdays? You have something on here Tuesdays.
Tuesdays is a free. You can just try out the breath, and that's at 2:22 Eastern time.
I love that.
You can provide the link for that.
Pardon me. Yeah, I've got all that. I'm sorry. Levi's growling because there's somebody like you. This is Levi. Say hi. That's my boy. Levi, say hi.
Wow, beautiful.
He's my co-pilot. He sits shotgun. I almost said the shiitake word. I bet he's right there going, oh, yes. Okay, so breath work. We have breath work on Tuesdays. You deep dive teacher training. It's going to start on the 20th, correct?
Yep.
So I'm sorry.
So people can reach out for that
yes. And they just go to leedavy.com.
Correct.
Okay.
And email is lee@leedavy.com.
Okay, and it's LEE with the little hyphen in the middle, DAVY. Is it a hyphen or a line? Hyphen. Okay. LEE-DAVY.com. Working on your breath work, working on your inner work. I love that you just got out of the darkness. I know that's some of I haven't gone on a darkness retreat, but I make it a practice for me because it would be really interesting for me to go in a few days and do that. It'll happen if it's supposed to happen, but I also make a practice for myself to do that. I put the blinders on, everything's dark, and I stay there. And then I'm like, you get back in there, girl, you get back in there. Right? It's like your day 3, right?
Yeah. And like, yeah, I can't say enough. Like it's the most uncomfortable and rewarding thing that I've ever done. And I've done a lot of uncomfortable things.
That is a really good umbrella for personal work too. It is really important. We're not sugarcoating. This is big work. This is really big, brave work. And be profoundly proud of yourself. And for those that are listening, and Lee, I'm specifically talking to you, be proud of yourself that you are showing up for yourself and creating this space and this container, not only for you, your heart, your soul, your mind, your body, but you're also leading by a beautiful example, male or female. It doesn't matter on the energy. I'm specifically excited about the masculine and the man evolving and changing because it's been shut down or it's been diverted in so many different ways, right?
Yeah, it really has. And I love what you said about showing up for yourself. So at the end of the day, that's what this is about. Continue to show up for yourselves first, and I think sacrifice has been so deeply embedded into the consciousness, and it's kind of the opposite. So it's like have a noble sense of self firstness to show up for yourself first. Fill your cup, learn your lessons, expand, continue to expand, and then and only then can we show up for each other more fully. And I think that's the process that we're going through right now.
Loving me is loving you is loving us. That's what I say all the time. I absolutely love that. All right, you guys, Lee, thank you. Stay with me for just a minute. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. Thank you so much, Lee. For those of you, it's lee-davy.com. If you want to get some more details and information, I highly recommend you doing that. It's the breath, brothers and sisters, is free, for goodness sakes. Make your changes, cross the bridge of fear and initiation. It is so much better on the other side. It really is, I promise. I love you guys. And until next time, each of you are a gift. Get out there and share yourself with the world.